Hello everybody, this is Shannon with Beads and Babble. I'm here with a tutorial on how to create these lovely bead and flat leather stretch bracelets. Very beginner friendly project and don't require that many accessories to start and complete them. So here are the tools that you're going to need for this project. Right here we have your standard leather hole punch. This one was purchased at Harbor Freight. Inexpensive. I want to say it was less than $10. And I don't know if they put them on sale or not, but you can also find these at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, those type of craft stores as well. Usually they have a version. And then flush cutters, sharp flush cutters for cutting the leather down to size, and also some nice sharp shears for cutting the stretch fiber cord. You could also use Stretch Magic and the other brands of the stretch cord. I just like this one a little bit better because it's easier to hide the knots. Because of the way that the cord is flat rather than round like Stretch Magic. A little easier to tie as well and holds fairly well too. A small ruler or regular size ruler, doesn't really matter, just something you can measure with. This is one of the new Bead Smith mats that we recently got in, and I just love this thing because you have inches and centimeters here, 12 inches and 30 up to 30 centimeters. And then up at the top, which you can't see, are some bead references from 2 millimeter to 16 millimeter. Also, I have two Sharpies here, one in black and one in brown. And the reason I have those is because once you cut the leather, there's going to be a raw edge. And in order to make that less visible, you can use the Sharpie to darken the edge. I did it on this black cord here. Did not do it on here purposely so you could see the difference here. But it blends in a little bit better. You do not have to do that, but if you choose to, it's an option. You have a variety of beads, which can be any beads that you choose that will accommodate the stretch cord. And the stretch cord is going to go back through the last bead here, and this is that one here, which is I want to say 4 millimeter. The hole size is pretty good size, though. It's probably 1.5 millimeter. And then this is a standard 6/0 seed bead, which I'm using to hide the knot. Same with these here. But it'll go back through the last bead. The Stretch Magic will have to go through that as well if you're using Stretch Magic, and the fiber cord will have to go through that twice. So you'll have to keep that in mind when you're selecting your beads and make sure that you have the correct hole size to accommodate that. And then I just have some assorted 10 millimeter across flat leather cord. I have some in black, some in some saddle brown, and some in a dark brown. Choice is completely up to you what color you want to use. And then also you can choose on your design whether you want to do a 2-hole in or single. You can strain multiple strands of the cord through a single hole. I just like the way this one kind of came out because it's more of a bulky front, where this one is not. But this one would actually, this design would be really good for larger beads, like maybe gemstone chips or gemstone 8 millimeter or larger beads or larger glass beads, to bulk that up a little bit. I was just playing around with it this morning. And then this one, this design would be great for smaller beads because you're going to have 4 strands, and then the smaller beads will fill that up nicely. But it's basically however you choose to design your bracelets. The sky's the limit on these. You can do them however you choose. Whatever media you like. You can incorporate some metal beads. You can incorporate bone beads, glass beads, gemstone beads, seed beads. Really, it's anything you choose. You can do a large focal bead and then kind of design your bracelet around that bead. I'll put this off to the side here so we can get started. I've babbled plenty. All right, so we're going to need approximately 12 inches of stretch cord, which is great because this thing is 12 inches down here. You can pre-stretch if you want, but I find in the fiber cord you don't have to do it as much as you have to do for the stretch magic, which you will have to pre-stretch it so it retains the size that you want, because it will stretch over time and probably become too big. So, and then on the cord, you can choose whatever cord color you want at this point. And what you're going to do is if you're going to make a 7-inch bracelet, you're going to cut your leather to 3.5 to 4 inches. Whatever the length of beads you want strung across the front is you're going to subtract that from the measurement of the wrist. So if you're going to do a 7-inch bracelet and you cut your leather 4 inches, you're going to do a 3-inch arrangement of beads. I hope that makes sense. I'll show you here more in detail as we construct this bracelet. So this here is already cut. Well, it's not quite. So I'm going to cut this to 3.5 so you can see. So, and then measurements do not have to be precise, just roughly, because it's a stretch bracelet, so it's going to have some room. And what I do is I take the flush side of the cutters here, line them up with the leather at the 3.5-inch mark, and then I just cut. At this time, you can use your Sharpie to color the ends to kind of take away that bare edge so it doesn't stick out so much when you're finished with the bracelet. It's as simple as that. And then you're going to take your leather hole punch. I'm using the smallest one on here, which is 5/64. And you're going to line it up. You can make one hole or two. We're going to do one for now. Make sure you get it where you want it before you give it the old squeeze. And then I kind of twist as I do it. Do the same on the other side. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, get it where you want it. Give yourself enough room at the end that it won't push through. Okay, so now you have your both ends with your hole on either side. So you're going to take your cord, you're gonna put it through one end, it doesn't matter which one. Then you're going to bring them together at the end so the cord is basically in half. You're going to want to string on your first bead, and remember this one is going to, the cord's going to have to go through it. Both cords will have to go through it. And this is the bead that will hide your, at the other end will hide your knot. So, all right, so here we are, and then that's the reason I said a small, even though this is handy dandy down here, I like to not have to move my bead piece here once I start stringing. All right, and so I'm just going to use my hands. You can use a big eye needle if you choose. So it makes it a little easier for you to string the beads if you want. I had one here somewhere, but leave it to me. I have lost it. But it's just as simple as to do this because these 6/0 seed beads are pretty friendly to use for stringing because they are a little bit larger. They're approximately 4 millimeters wide, and their hole size varies from 1 millimeter to 1.10, depending on the whether it's an opaque or a transparent one. The transparent beads tend to be their hole tends to be a little bit bigger. So we're going to string a 3.5 inch strand here, because this is going to be a 7-inch bracelet. As I cut the leather at 3.5 inches, and I'm going to keep this really simple too, but you can definitely do a more mixed media design with adding different size beads, different types of beads, so you have more texture and stuff. But for this tutorial, I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. But that way you can still see the fundamentals of the construction of the bracelet. So I'm at about 2.5 now. And if you guys want to comment and let me know if there's anything that I could do better, let me know. Like I said, this is a learning curve for me as well. Since I have not done any video tutorials, I've done in-person tutorials, but this is new to me as well. My little fidgety hands here. Yeah, my hands are a mess right now because I'm madly making jewelry for Christmas for family members and friends, and I do metalsmithing, silversmithing, so it really, I just gave myself a saw blade cut the other day. Lovely. Okay. And like I said, this is going to be a very fun project that won't be very stressful, or shouldn't be very stressful for you to do, but also makes a really nice finished product. And with Christmas just around the corner, I know that a lot of people are turning to making handmade gifts, which I think is awesome. We've always been really big in our handmade gift giving. It's almost like a competition in my family. See who can come up with the best handmade gift at Christmas time. It's pretty funny, actually. My husband is, I think I mentioned this before, but he loves working with wood, and he does some amazing things. And he made these little miniature Christmas trees for the decorative Christmas trees for the house. And he was making it for my daughter-in-law. She loves her decor, and she is huge into the holidays, and she's constantly doing some really awesome things. She's definitely the decorative queen of our family. But he made her a set, and then I was like, I like those so much. Can you make me a set? And he's like, yeah. And then he's making me some wood snowflakes. I'll have to take pictures of them once we get them hung. He's got a few more to make, so we'll see how those turn out. But everything he does is pretty darn amazing. So I imagine they're going to be gorgeous when he finishes them. He's going to do a little bit of a whitewash for me. This is kind of where I think a nice large eye needle would come in handy, is you can do this a lot quicker than what I'm doing it at. But it is, oops, out of my pattern here because I'm babbling. This is a fun project, and like I said, these make nice gifts too. And you can also add it to a stack, a stretch bracelet stack, if you want to give a little bit more interest to a stack by adding some leather. I mean, who doesn't like leather and beads? I mean, come on. We can all use a little leather and beads in our life, right? I know I like my leather wrap bracelets like a lot. My granddaughters made me this here, and it's as I said, that we're big into our handmade gifts, so I treasure it. And they like their jewelry too. As a matter of fact, I just made them some baby stack rings and sent that off to them. They always are making requests for jewelry, which I think is amazing that they still like wearing their Nana's jewelry. Let's see how many I got here. It looks like 4, 8, 10, 11. Got 8, 10, 11. And that one, I don't need that one. I'm going to put this one through. So now you're going to take, after you finish threading your beads onto the second cord, you're going to take the fiber cord. Actually, it's a little bit easier to go through the end bead with both threads at the same time than it is to slide them, because this fiber cord tends to be a little tacky and it'll stick. So you go through both, it'll go through. So now you have your two ends together, and what you're going to do is you're going to thread it through the other hole in the leather, and this is where you're going to tie it. Now you're going to do an overhand knot, single, tie it, and then you're going to do an overhand knot and then thread it through again. So this is like a surgeon's knot. You don't have to yank on this, but make sure you get the knot tight. And then you're going to do another surgeon's knot, which is 1, 2. I usually take the cord and go kind of all directions. This is where your sharp scissors are going to come in handy. And you're going to cut close to the knot. And then you're going to take that knot in the last bead and you're going to slip it through. And so it hides the knot. And then that is a 2 strand. This is a little bit big for me. I'm about a 6.5, but you're going to have a about a 7-inch bracelet there. Half. Now, if you're going to do a 2-hole bracelet, this is at 4. I'll just leave it at that. But you're going to just do the same exact thing, except for you're going to make 2 holes at the end of the leather. A little bit more careful because you got to make sure that you get enough surface area there. See, that's what I was talking about right there. Mistake. I'll do the other end. But that is exactly what I was talking about. My eyeballs are so bad anymore. But you'll get 2 at the end like that. This one off. I'll do it again. And give yourself room. And second hole. So now you have 2 holes on each end. So you're going to thread 2 12-inch strands onto these. So you'll be doing 1, and 2. And what you'll be doing is threading that one and this one half and half. It's a little bit fiddly. So remember, your first bead is going through both threads, which kind of helps hold them together and separate. And then do the same with the second cord. And then you have now 4 strands that you'll be stringing bracelets on. So you can make your design with 4 strands rather than 2 like the first bracelet. And you can also, to keep these, you can use a bead bug or just some painter's tape to keep them separate. But then you string on your design and you do the exact same thing after you have threaded your beads on. You tie it off with the surgeon's knot at the end, and then you slip the knot under the last bead, which you'll add another bead at the end. And you'll end up with this, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a little small because I made it for my granddaughter, but this is probably a, I want to say this, I made this like at a 5, 5.5 for her because they're little. She's only 8. She used to be 9. She just turned 9 in November. And that way you have a little bit more bulky of a design. But then again, like I said, you could add these 2 cords here to the single hole bracelet as well, because I could add onto this one if I wanted to. I could slip another cord through here and add another, which I might do because I kind of like it a little bit fuller. But this type of design would be great with more bulky beads, like I would say 8mm and up, or if you have a really chunky focal bead and you want to get some bulk up here, you could do it that way. This design's great for smaller beads. If you want to cluster a bunch of strands of smaller beads together, would be great. But yeah, you can make all sorts of designs using these simple tools and leather and some stretch fiber cord, beads, and anything else that you choose to. You can even modify the design however you think that would work. Another quick tip on these, if you want to get more decorative with them, you can, and if you have it, you have a steel anvil and a hammer. You don't have to have this kind of hammer. You can just have a regular household hammer if you want. If you have some leather stamps, metal stamps, or if you just have the metal stamps, you can use those to imprint on the leather. So, and you don't have to wet it or anything. You take the stamp, you just line it up however you choose to do it. It's going to be loud, sorry. And then you can use different stamps to decorate the leather portion of the bracelet. So you can definitely add some more interest to the bracelet. If you have some metal stamps lying around, you can do that to it. And you can do however pattern you like. on it. But yeah, that's another fun little tip on the leather. But I hope if you have any questions that you'll leave them in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer questions. If you need me to be more specific about a certain technique I did on here, just let me know. I can do another short video to give you, you know, a better illustration of it. But I just wanted to go with something simple for start. And then as I progress and I get better at this, I'm sure I'll be able to get more organized, I should say. But thank you, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and also a great holiday season. So we'll see you later.